Hey there, Changemaker. Welcome to the Dare to Begin Small and Mighty podcast, episode number 51. Today, I'm talking about one question. Do you feel brave? We're going to talk about that today. I'm so excited to jump in, so let's get to it already. I spent years building my interior design business, trying to do all the things. The marketing, the networking, the free content, spending thousands of dollars on training and education, only to see minimal growth. After years of frustration, I finally started to ask, what am I missing? I had the systems in place for powerful growth. I had amazing clients. I had determination, drive, and commitment to spare. And yet, I wasn't seeing the success I desired. What if business is not about the doing? What if building a powerful business requires both powerful systems and something else, something deeper? I'm Amy Van Meel, and I'm on a journey to discover that something else. If you are ready to build a powerful business and do it knowing that your success is inevitable, join me as I share both the powerful systems I know work and my lessons and revelations as I discover that something deeper. Welcome, Changemaker, to the Dare to Begin Small and Mighty podcast. Well, hey there, Changemaker. Welcome to the podcast. Amy here. I'm so happy that you're here with me today. I am feeling a little bit low energy today, so bear with me today if I seem a little bit less than my usual boisterous self. I am really happy to be here with you guys today. And today's topic is a fluid one. And by what I mean by fluid is I actually had a different topic in mind that I was going to record for you guys today. And I want to take a bit more time on that topic to do a bit more research and take a few more notes because I hadn't quite fleshed out what I was thinking about. So it got me to thinking today, like, what am I going to talk about today? What am I going to share with you guys? What can I drop any wisdom on you today? And I was thinking about this past weekend, and I have sort of news. I have news to share with you. It's a little bit big in my world. It's an experiment. I've been talking about it for a couple of weeks, and I'm going to share what it is today. So I'll share that in just a moment. But I was talking about this thing that I'm bringing out. My dad and his girlfriend were out this weekend visiting with me and picked up some furniture and dropped off a bunch of furniture, which means I have a whole bunch of furniture in my house that I wasn't really expecting, but it's working out okay for the most part. And as I was showing them what I had been working on, his girlfriend said to me how brave it was. She said, "You're so brave. You just do these things, and I'm always so impressed with you. And it's just like I'm so impressed at how brave you are." And I remember thinking, like, it's not really brave. I don't really think of this as being brave. And I got to thinking about, other times in my life where I've heard someone say, and I've heard it a lot the last few weeks. I've heard a lot of people say to me, "Boy, you're so brave. You do these things, and I'm so impressed." And I've kept hearing it, and I thought, what is it about what I'm doing that makes people think that I'm so brave? Because I'll be honest, I don't feel like I'm being overly brave. I feel like I'm experimenting. I'm trying some different things. I'm trying to figure out how to have the impact that I know that I'm programmed to have into this world. How do I have that impact? How can I bring this podcast out to thousands of listeners? How can I approach, we're talking like James Wedmore, Amy Porterfield, Brooke Castillo kind of numbers where they have millions of downloads. How can I even begin to get there? What is it that I need to do? And so to me, that way of thinking isn't necessarily a way of being brave. I just think about, boy, like, I know that I'm meant to bring something much bigger than I am so far out into the world. And I love being on this podcast with you every week. And I'm so grateful that you listen every week. And I'm like, words cannot express how joyful I am that I took the step to do the podcast and that somebody is listening to it. So the fact that you're hearing me right now just makes my world shine. when I say about being grateful for you being here, it's not just stock words, guys. I'm not just, saying it because, well, it's supposed to show gratitude for people showing up and listening to you. I'm for serious really grateful that you are actually listening to me, because otherwise it'd just be me sitting in front of a microphone talking to myself, which is sometimes what it feels like, right? When I'm here recording the podcast for you, I don't see you. You're not sitting in front of me. I envision you listening to this podcast, whether you're driving somewhere or you're walking or you're on the treadmill or the bike, or you're just chilling out, having your cup of coffee in the morning or whatever. I envision you listening to the podcast and receiving some great wisdom, some great insight, not because I'm particularly wise or insightful, but because I believe that when we share our words, when we speak a message out there, that we're called to bring it out. And the words that I share every week in the podcast come out of me because someone is meant to hear it from me in the unique way that I say it. Not because you haven't heard it before, not because, I'm saying something like groundbreakingly new, earth-shatteringly amazing, because you are meant to hear it from me. And so I'm super grateful that there is someone listening. I'm super grateful that you're there. I know it brings to mind, if you've seen the movie Julie and Julia, where darn, I can't remember. I think it's Amy something, the actress, the one that plays the younger Julia, or Julie, I guess. And she's writing the blog, and she just, at one point says, like, are you listening? Is there anybody out there? And sometimes that's what it feels like a little bit on this side of things, that we hope somebody's out there listening to us. I'm sure you feel the same. If you're putting out content week after week and you're just like, you're tapping the mic. Is this thing on? Is anybody hearing me? And so I suppose to some people, the simple act of us doing this, of me sitting in front of the microphone, of, brainstorming ideas and trying different things, and learning and exploring, and trying to put into practice things that I'm learning and exploring. Maybe to some people that is brave because they're not willing to take the risk to do it. So today I wrote down one note, literally like 4 words. Do you feel brave? That's the whole topic of today's podcast. And the podcast that I wanted to talk about was actually spawned from, I watched the Taylor Swift documentary, just came out on Netflix, I think last week. My guy and I watched it on Saturday. And I want to do a whole podcast episode, not just about Taylor specifically, but about some of the insights that I had, watching her documentary, because it's quite insightful. And I would actually recommend that you, in between now and next week, when I aim to have that podcast out for you, I would recommend that you watch the documentary and then bring your own thoughts to the podcast when we sit down together again. And, just sort of maybe what I have seen or what was revealed to me during that documentary will help inspire something in you or give you a different insight. But what's interesting to me is that, we look at people like Taylor Swift or Beyonce or Oprah or James Wedmore or, whomever, someone who's really done it, Catherine Zankina, who's really come out and done it. And I'm always impressed by how they have gotten there. And I'm always wondering, like, okay, what did they originally, I was like, what are they doing? What do they have that I don't have? And now I'm looking at it going, what did they believe? What story are they telling themselves that has allowed them to reach this level of success? I realize now that it's not about the actions that they do, because there could be someone who looks like Taylor, has done all the same things as Taylor, has the same amount of talent that she has, the same passion for the industry, everything else. But if they don't believe that it's possible for them, they don't have a story that supports that ultimate success, then they're not going to get there, right? And I'm sure there's thousands, if not millions, of stories of people who are equally as talented, equally as beautiful. Not that we need to be beautiful, but let's be honest, beauty, whether you're a man or a woman, is big in being able to publicize yourself in certain industries. They may have all the same things, and yet they aren't seeing that level of success. And so when I look at those people, I don't think necessarily that they're being very brave. And maybe that's what sets us apart. Maybe as entrepreneurs, that sets us a bit apart, that we're not necessarily looking at somebody and saying like, wow, that's really brave. But we're looking at somebody and saying, wow, I'm really impressed that this person has achieved the level that they have and are having the impact that they want to have in the world. There's one moment in the documentary, and I'll just mention this one, where Taylor's talking about there's the whole political stuff that's happening. I think it was related to the midterm elections in the U.S. So for those of you who are in the U.S., you'll know all about the midterm elections. And if I recall, it was last year. My knowledge of U.S. politics is like surface at best, but there was a politician running in her home state that she was just disagreed with. And the reasons that she stated, I could totally understand. I would disagree 100% with a person who stood for these things as well. And there was a significant portion of the documentary that was talking about or focused on this, that, Taylor wanted to say something. She felt that it was required, that it was, she's achieved this level and she cannot stay silent. And there was a huge amount of pushback from within her own team, within her, her managers and her parents. And I think from the little bit I saw, her publicist was sort of on board, but everybody knew that what she wanted to say and the action that she wanted to take could be hugely detrimental to her career. And there was multiple discussions about it, and then you saw the moment where they actually, like, I think she posted it on Twitter, I'm not quite sure, but where she actually took the action. And that to me was a moment of braveness. That to me is, if we want to look at someone and say, you know what, like, that's brave. That to me is brave. You're risking it all. You're risking a significant amount of pushback. I mean, like, you and I may not be living at the level of Taylor Swift, right? We don't have 100 million followers. Everybody around the world doesn't really know who we are yet. That may change. But if we take chances, our level of exposure is actually quite mitigated. We don't have the amount of exposure that others do. So it's funny to me when people say that, the things that I do are so brave, because they don't feel brave to me. And maybe that's something that we need to lean into more. So I'd be curious. I would love to hear from you. What are you doing that have people said to you that they think you're really brave? Whatever that looks like, whether you've gone through, you've been diagnosed with cancer and you've gone through that. Lots of people look at that and say that you're really brave. And I know this might be totally isolating me from the rest, but it's an interesting, to me, that's a very interesting way to apply being brave, because it's not that you chose to have it, right? You didn't actively say, I'm going to get cancer. Now, we can talk all day long about the things around what creates cancer in a body. We're not going to talk about that today, because that's not what we're here about today. But it wasn't like you went to the grocery store and said, oh yeah, I'll take a can of that lung cancer, perfect. And I want to beat this. I want to fight this thing. I'm excited for this. So it's a funny thing to me to say, for someone to say, you're so brave in fighting cancer, because you either deal with it, you focus on it, you do everything you can to move through it, or you submit. And so I could see it as courageous, but to me, brave is a funny term to apply there. It's also, I could see it more in terms of, let's say, for example, you're about to be a single parent, whether you're a single mother or single father, whoever, a single parent. Whatever the situation is, that you're maybe leaving a really terrible situation, or, if you were a woman, you're really young and you got pregnant and you decided this baby is coming into the world, whether I'm ready for it or not, it's coming in. Those to me are actions that are brave. But taking steps in my business and, doing some experimentation, I'm like, let's see if this works and let's see if that works. And can I do something better here? Or how can I get more outreach there? To me, that doesn't feel like brave. That just feels like, okay, let's just keep moving in the direction. Because if we keep leaning in to the things that make sense and the ideas that come into our mind, then then potentially it's going to start breaking our way. It's going to start breaking open. It's going to start impacting more. I'll see my downloads go from say 20 or 30 or 100 in a week to 1,000 in a week or 10,000 in a week. Or Lord help me, 1,000,000 downloads in a week would blow my mind. That would be amazing to me. But that to me doesn't feel like a brave thing. And so I'd love to know from you, what do you think is brave? And do you feel brave? Do you feel brave in your business? I want to separate business and life a little bit in this particular episode because I think that in our lives, things that are potentially outside of business, we have a greater opportunity to display bravery. Braveness? Anyway, whatever it is. I feel like in our lives individually, there is more opportunity for us to show that we are being brave or to lean into being brave. There are definitely situations in my life, many that I've gone through, many that I'm sure to come, where I had to dig deep and look for some bravado to be able to, lean into something and be like, Amy, this is not going to get us down. This is not going to be the end of us. We're not going to, let this dictate. There are moments in my life where I can definitely say that was a moment that I was brave. But in my business, I feel like that's less so. I feel like more often in my business, it's not about being brave. It's more about a desire to do something good in the world. And maybe I've felt this call and I've been feeling it, and I've said so many times the last few episodes, this year is going to be a big year for me. And not to say like, watch me go, it's going to be amazing, but I can feel it. I can feel this groundswell. I know that I'm in deep transformation. I know that there is I'm excited for you guys actually, because as the growth comes in me, it's only going to serve you even more. So I'm super excited about that. And I look at that and I think, oh, that's what I'm excited about. I'm totally leaning into this. And there are going to be moments, I'm sure, that as I continue to grow and as I continue to lean into this and as I continue to, focus on bringing a deeper, wider, more far-reaching impact through my business, that I am going to be called up to be brave. But the moments that I have right now feel like testing grounds. They don't necessarily feel like brave moves. So let me tell you what it was that my dad's girlfriend was looking at that she said to me she felt that I was being really brave for. I've mentioned this already a number of times, I think the last 2, maybe 3 podcasts, that I have been working on an experiment and I'm super excited to bring it out to you. And here's what it is. All right. Are you ready? I need a little drum roll. That's my drum roll. So what I have coming out today is I'm calling it the Enlightened Entrepreneur Shop by Dare to Begin. So I have been working on a little experiment whereby I wanted to create some products that are in line with what I've been talking about. I've talked about before that I'm not into the hustle. I'm not into the grind. I'm not into the, you sleep when you're dead bullshit. That is not what I'm about. And you have probably heard that on just about every episode. I think this is episode 51. I need to double check my notes. I think we're in episode 51 today. If it's not 51, it's 52, but I'm pretty sure today is 51. So I've talked about in just about every episode that the hustle and the grind does not work. If you are still in that belief pattern right now, I would challenge you to do some reading, do some learning. Definitely check in with James Wedmore. There's tons of books. There's a book right now, guys, that I cannot, it is changing my life. It's so amazing. It's called The Game of Life and How to Play It by, I think it's Florence Scovel Shinn. I'll double check. But anyway, it's called The Game of Life and How to Play It. It is the most groundbreaking book to me. And what's always so fascinating to me is that there are books that are written a long time ago. This book, I think, was written in 1925 by a woman. And I love so many things about that. Part of what I love about that is that this woman she had to be someone who just pushed against and like moved things forward. I don't know anything about her. I don't know anything about her personal life or anything like that. But the book is quite interesting. I will give this one caveat. Again, bearing in mind that it's 1925, religion had a fairly strong hold at that point, and lots of viewpoints were based around religion. And this book is not a religious book, but this book does reference the Bible and God and Jesus and those things a number of times, but in a most fascinating way. So don't say like, oh, I'm not interested. I would actually challenge you to have a read because I think it's quite fascinating. But what I wanted to do was I wanted to create something that is that you could like buy something to have physically in your hand to just be a reminder of where you're going and growing. So I have convinced myself, had to talk myself back a number of times, to keep my product offering right now rather tight because, like I said, it's an experiment. I want to see whether you guys like it, whether you're interested in it. I'm testing all avenues of this, right? So it's not just the product offering itself. It's the pricing that I've got so far. It's the platform itself. It's the process of ordering it. Now, here's what I'm excited about this. And I want to talk about this a little bit today because I'm not going to talk about it again in the future episodes. I'll probably mention the shop itself. So you can, first of all, you can go find the shop by going to daretobegin.net/shop. And you'll get to a landing page with a big blue button that says enter the Enlightened Entrepreneur Shop, something like that. And which will take you into the shop itself. So what I'm excited about with this is that something that I've struggled with a little bit, we have conversations often in our home about the wastefulness that we see, and it's not just, we see it in food, we see it in clothing, we see it in every avenue of life, that there's sort of this like idea of, what's the word I'm looking for? I guess sort of a throwaway culture, right? Like we have to have the newest phone, or we need to have the newest computer, or we need to have, the newest shirt or the newest whatever. And so I wrestled internally for a while about, do I want to do a product-based business, or am I just contributing to more wastefulness in the world? Am I contributing to more of this, a physical product-driven culture? And so I thought about that for probably about 2 months before I ever moved forward on this, because I needed to be okay with where I was going. And so what I'm excited about this particular shop, and the reason that I want to talk about this right now, is that if you go and order the products, it's going to take a little bit of time. I need to double check the timelines, but it's going to take a little bit of time for you to receive the product. Nothing comes overnight, and here's why. All of the products are printed when they are ordered, which means that I'm not carrying an inventory, which is great, a great way to do an experiment on something that's brand new, that's not tested. So I'm not carrying an inventory, and there isn't a waste, right? I'm not ordering 100 of something hoping that it will sell, and then if it doesn't, I either need to blow it out cheap, or I'm giving it away, or I'm, at worst, throwing it away. So I wanted to do it that way because I want to, essentially, I just don't want to contribute to more trash in the world. I think we already have enough. I think people, by and large, I'm hoping, are learning to be a bit more aware of how much they're using and the impact that has on the world. I am hoping that, as a global economy, that we are going to start paying more attention to the materials that we use for, say, packaging and all those kinds of things, because I think we need to start making some habit changes very quickly. But I'm excited about the product line. I'm excited to bring it out. All the designs are my own, so you'll get a 100% Amy Van Meel Dare to Begin original. And so I would encourage you to go to the shop, daretobegin.net/shop. Click that big blue button, go on in. And like I said, I've kept it fairly simple, but keep an eye out because I'm going to be releasing new products every now and again. And my goal is to have it every month. And again, of course, I'll see how things are selling. If things are selling really well, then maybe I'll tweak a certain design or anyway, I'm not quite sure yet. It's an experiment. And so this is, I was showing this to my dad and his girlfriend when they were here on the weekend. And this is what I was showing her when she said, "Boy, you're so brave. You're just so brave bringing things out." So I'm excited about the shop, and my goal is that it will do really well. I have visions of like I have some t-shirts that I designed. I have visions of like the some one of the shirts or some of the mugs that I have in there. That there are pictures of Catherine Zankina either wearing the shirt or have sitting with her cup of coffee in one of the mugs that I've designed. That would excite me. That it's I've nailed the essence of the message that I want to bring out. That it is reaching someone like Catherine Zankina or James Wedmore. I mean, that would just be the most amazing thing in the world to me. If you do order something from the shop, and I would love it if you did, then I would very much love it when it comes in, take a picture of you using it and post it on Instagram and tag me into it. I Dare to Begin as my Instagram handle. Tag me so I can celebrate you, because I wanted to create something that supports what I call the enlightened entrepreneur. I believe if you're here listening to this podcast, if you've been listening to all 50 some odd episodes, that you are someone who knows, you believe similar to I do, that the hustle, the grind that does not work. It's, the only way we should see grind is when we're making coffee, right? In our coffee grinds, that's sort of it. But I look at the enlightened entrepreneur as someone who understands that there is an easier and different way to do things than has been happening in the past. That it's not about the world is changing. It's not just about, outworking someone else. And I want to take a quick moment to just talk about, some of the disruptors. I have the fortune of working with a company right now that is really quite outstanding. I've mentioned before that I have a job. I've mentioned before that I'm just amazed by how well this company operates and how they treat their employees and how they treat their customers. And what's quite interesting to me is some of the interviews I've seen from the CEO, and where, in some industries he's considered a disruptor. And I remember seeing an interview where they asked this person, where do you see that you're going to disrupt next? And this person said, I never intended to disrupt an industry when I started this business. That was not my goal. The reason that I started this was because I was trying to do something and it was so difficult to do what it was that I was trying to do. And when I finally built what it was that I was looking for, I realized, you know what, actually, like, yeah, this first idea is great, but actually the part that I built to make this first idea possible, that actually needs to be really done better. And, not everybody has the knowledge or the experience that I have to be able to do this. So what if I could create more of this to make it easier for others to do the same? That's how they started. The company is doing very well. I mean, I keep an eye a little bit on the stock prices, and the stock prices have just been going through the roof. They've been growing every day. It's been amazing. And I look at their customer base. I look at, how things are growing in the company. What are their goals? What are their trajectories? And I'm astounded by how it stays to its, call it its true north. It stays to its ideal. The goal at the beginning was to make this particular area better. They didn't go into it saying, let's disrupt this industry. They went into it saying, this doesn't work. Let's make something that does. So that's what I look at with this shop. If it turns into something that's huge, if this shop in and of itself like becomes, a high 6-figure, 7-figure, 8-figure shop, that'd be amazing. I would be celebrating all friggin' day long. That would just be blowing my mind. But it's not. I'm not setting it out that way. When I started Dare to Begin in and of itself, I didn't set out thinking like this is going to be a major disruption. I still don't think it's going to be a major disruption. I don't think that that's at all going to happen. But I do believe that what I put out, the work I put out, both in the podcast and in the products that I've put into the shop and in the courses that I sell through Dare to Begin, I believe that those items will make a difference. That's my goal, to make a difference, to make things easier for someone else. Hello, you. I want to make business easier for you however I can do so. And so the last few months, I've been thinking a lot about, I mentioned this before, the trajectory of this business. What is it going to look like? Where am I focusing growth? How can I bring this out further? And always with the mind of how can I make this easier for someone else? Because You've heard it from me before. I'll say it again. Building a business is not easy. It's not easy. And anybody who says that it is easy is maybe for them it was. Maybe they have a belief system that supports that. Maybe you're thinking right now, Amy, I feel like building a business is easy. I've built 16. Fantastic. I'm pumped that you built 16. But my guess is if you're listening to me, you are still working on one or two, or you've tried it a couple times and it hasn't quite worked out. And you're like, fuck, I just wanted this to work out. Like, why am I not seeing the success or the impact that I want to make? Or can I just put some more money in my bank account, right? I totally feel that. That's my goal behind everything that I do with Dare to Begin, is to make it better, to make it easier, to enable others to reach success faster and with less heartache and less Kleenexes used. That is my goal. So I would encourage you, please go check out the shop, daretobegin.net/shop. If you are a subscriber to the podcast, and this is why I've been talking the last couple of weeks to make sure that you're a subscriber to the podcast. I have been debating a little bit how I'm going to do this, but for podcast subscribers, I'm actually going to send out a coupon code. And that coupon code is going to be good for 2 weeks, which puts us at, what's the 4th, like the 18th, I guess, of February. If you're listening to this after the 18th of February, well, it's all good. Maybe there'll be some other promo that's going on, but because it's brand new, because the shop this is its first iteration. I have yet to see the products. I haven't ordered any of my own just yet. I've been, busy working, getting it up. I've been promising that I was going to get it up. So I'm going to send out a coupon code to the podcast subscribers. You're going to get it. If you are listening to this because you got it in your email, you will see a coupon code in your email. If it is the 4th of February and you're like, oh my gosh, go and subscribe, because I'll send a coupon code again in next week's email, which will be the 4th, what's the 7th, like 11th, February 11th. And that code will be good until the 18th. So you'll get a discount because I want to, like I said, I'm really testing. I would love some feedback. So if you do get the coupon code, and even if you don't, even if you go to the shop and you just order something, send me some feedback. So you can email support@daretobegin.net. Again, that's support@daretobegin.net. Let me know what you ordered. Let me know what your thoughts are. I welcome some honest feedback. I am not interested if you just want to call things down or talk about how you've seen it before or anything like that. That's not the kind of feedback that I want to see. The kind of feedback that I'm asking for and looking for is, how does the product feel? How does it look? Did the print come out properly? Do the colors show up nicely? How's its use, right? So there are coffee mugs that are on there, for example. Do you find that they're a good size? Do they feel nice in the hand? Those kinds of things. All of them are dishwasher safe, which is fantastic because, listen, I have some hand wash only mugs and I use them very rarely because who's got time to hand wash everything all the time, right? So most of everything that we use has got to be able to go in the dishwasher. So that was my goal with this kinds of things. The shirt, same thing. Is it something that can be easily washed and worn? I don't want to have any of these dry clean only at this point. Maybe if this continues to grow and we get into something ultra luxury, then maybe we'll look at something that's dry clean only. But the goal for these products is to be accessible to all of you, to be usable, to be friendly, to be budget savvy. I don't want to have people, breaking the bank to buy a $300 coffee mug or a t-shirt or something. So if you do order something, please send me some feedback and just let me know. And I mean, if you love it, fantastic. Just let me know you love it. But definitely share it on Instagram and definitely tag me at I Dare to Begin, because I would love to just see some of those pictures and share it out a little bit, brag a little bit, because that would just really make my day, and share it out with others. And I just want to leave you with this today is, we talked, I know I spent the last minutes talking about the shop, but I want to leave you with a thought, with a question really of, do you feel brave? Where do you feel like you're making brave choices in your life? And would you be willing to share it with me? Email me, support@daretobegin.net, or, direct message me on Instagram at I Dare to Begin. Tell me, where do you feel like you're being brave in your life? Or do you not feel like you're being brave? Do you have people saying to you, Jim or Jill or Jackie, like, you're so brave when you do this, and you're kind of thinking like, really? I don't feel like this is a very brave thing. I would love to hear from you. I'd love to hear some of those insights from your own life as well. And and just encourage you, lift you up, raise you up a little bit, and celebrate you. So thank you again so much for listening. As I mentioned, I know this year is going to be a big year for us. I feel the groundswell of momentum is growing. I'm excited for it. I'm excited for what this year is going to be. Today that I'm recording is the February 3rd. And yesterday I got a note from my coach that it was a palindrome date. It was 02 of 2020. So that was kind of neat, kind of a neat little, I think it's funny when you have these little reminders, cosmic reminders of what's happening in the world. So if you're listening to this the day it is coming out, which is February 4th or afterwards, then obviously the palindrome date has gone by. But yeah, I celebrate you. I'm grateful that you're here. I'm so grateful that you listen every week. I would love it if you would help me get this out to more people. So if you enjoyed today's episode, if you found any value in it, even if you're just like, listen to this episode for the first 10 minutes, because after that she goes off the rails, that's okay too. Please share the episode out with your friends, with your family, with someone who you think could find some great value in this. Let's raise the world together. Let's you and I partner up to get this message out further. This podcast is free. It costs you nothing to listen to it. And so I'm not asking you to send this out because, every listen earns me $5. It doesn't earn me anything at this point, but I want to get more. I want to get the message out. I want more people to feel supported. I want for those people who still believe in the hustle and grind and are killing themselves for it, I want them to hear this. It's not about hustling and grinding. It doesn't work. So let's partner together. Let's work together. Let's spend some time together so that we can move in the direction where we have the least resistance, but the maximum amount of growth. All right. So thank you so much for listening. Super excited to hang out with you guys again next week, and please do share it out. And one last plug, make sure you go check out the shop, daretobegin.net/shop. We'll get you in. Bye for now. Are you tired of figuring it out all on your own? Of sitting in overwhelm, knowing that you're not moving forward, but having no idea where or how to start? Are you ready to learn effective, profit-supporting strategies for your business so that you can finally earn the money you desire and step into the freedom that you're working so hard to create? If so, I invite you to join me inside the Launchpad. You'll get instant access to free training designed to meet you where you are right now and propel you forward toward the dream that you hold in your mind. It's time to make a powerful move toward your future. Time to step up and serve the people who desperately need your help. Let's not keep them waiting any longer. Today is the day. Join the Launchpad now. Just go to daretobegin.net/the Launchpad and sign up. Your success is inevitable. Now let's launch it.